Welcome back to the 31305 podcast. This is episode number 36. And this, for the first time, we can finally say football has begun. Every weekend until February now, there will be a football game, NFL, college, everything is playing. We had some fun results from week one, some quite surprising upsets that we'll get into. But as always, joined here by my co host, Alex. Uh, you got to be excited, right? We're 48 hours. I'm bad at math. 48 hours away from 2 days. We're 2 days away from
Yeah,
the NFL season starting with the
Thursday at
Lions.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Peacock and NBC. The coverage of the game starts at 8. They're going to do the banner unveilment for the Chiefs, which we'll preview that game as well. Yeah, man, we had some good action in college. Never disappoints. Some good games next week, honestly. I think next week's games are going to be better than this week's that we just had.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we'll break down what happens in week one in the NFL. But we had the big marquee matchup of the week in college, and it did disappoint. Let's just say it now. FSU and LSU. We had a buddy of ours go to the game. I was in Orlando yesterday. Did not attend the game. It was Sunday. And LSU, I admit, I picked them to win the SEC. Picked them to make the playoff. They didn't look like they deserved to be in the top five in the SEC. They got handled in the second half against Florida State. FSU dominates 45-24 in Orlando. I watched most of the game, and I don't know if you did, but my biggest takeaway was that LSU's offensive line can't block worth shit. They Miami and Auburn have got better O lines than LSU. But what did you take away from the game?
I was high on Florida State. I picked them to win the ACC. I picked them to win this game. I thought LSU was probably a little overrated at number five. I said I was a big Jordan Travis fan. Uh, yeah. Am I blanking on his name?
No, Jordan
I'm
Travis.
not good. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm so bad at names. I was thinking Travis Hunter from Colorado, who we'll talk about in a little bit because that was a
Yeah,
game. But yeah, I think LSU is just a little overrated. I mean, they don't have. There's no Joe Burrow. There's no Lenny's not there. I mean, they had an upset over Alabama last year, which I think vaulted them higher up in the polls going into this year.
hmm
Um, but there's really not much there with LSU. Obviously, the defense outside of this game should be good. I would think once they figure some stuff out. But yeah, Jordan Travis just looked amazing. Keon Coleman, the transfer from Michigan State, looked insane. Had what 2 or 3 touchdowns, over 150 yards or something like that. Florida State looks like a rolling ball of knives, machetes, chains, and other things that are going to beat the shit out of other teams. Because I don't know, they have Benson in the backfield who didn't have a great game, but still an elite weapon on offense, and the defense is pretty solid. So Florida State, I didn't pick them to win the college football playoff. Um, not last night's game, the Sunday night's game might have proved me a little wrong. They might be ready. I don't know if they make it. Their schedule obviously still a little tough, but I think this is more on LSU. That was a shit show performance on national TV Sunday night. You just get absolutely manhandled by Florida State. Granted, it was a home game for Florida State essentially because it was in Orlando, right?
it was in
Or
Orlando.
was it in
Yeah,
Tampa?
no, it was in Orlando. It was in Orlando, Camping World Stadium. But
Yeah.
I mean, LSU was up 17-14 at halftime. That's why I felt okay about it. And their defense just
Garbage.
absolutely got dogged in the second half. Like, I don't know what happened at FSU for halftime, but whatever they did worked. Uh, I mean, Jordan Travis to me looked good, but honestly, he was just taking advantage of LSU's like secondary. Like, they just couldn't cover. They couldn't cover to save their lives. The LSU secondary, definitely no Derek Stingley back there, Patrick Peterson, like in days past. But credit to you, you called it. And FSU, they looked like you said, they could be a contender for at least a big bowl game, if not the actual playoff itself.
Oh yeah, for sure. New Year's Six bowl. It's got to be
Yeah.
New Year's Six or bust for them. But Mike Norvell's definitely got this team on the right path. Just a big win from them. Obviously, next week's going to be. I think next week's schedule is. It's also pretty weak, other than Texas, Alabama. So they probably. I don't know who they play, but assuming it's not going to be a test. But I mean, Jaden Daniels had 350 yards and a touchdown. Also carried the ball 15 times for 64 yards. I think they outgained them too. They just couldn't put anything together. LSU was. I think they're overrated. I don't. The SEC West, I think, is going to have a pretty down year this year. I don't know. The way some SEC West teams looked this week. Looking at you, Alabama, terrible. You might have beat them by 60, but we don't care. Yeah, I mean, on paper, this game looked like it should have been a lot closer than it was, but Florida State looked legit.
And I mean, if they're going to be the class of the ACC based off what happened last night. Because what happened last night, we joked about Clemson Duke for a couple of weeks about how, oh, the marquee matchup of the night. And Duke shocked the college football world and cruised to a win over Clemson. It was 28-7 in Durham. I mean, I saw most of the game. Clemson just choked every time they needed a good play. Whether it was a fumble, they fumbled twice in the red zone. They had a turnover on downs, miscommunication on some routes. They didn't look like a team that for the last 10, 12 years have been consistently 10 wins or above. But credit to Duke for not beating themselves. And I mean, Clemson is, we're talking about the AP poll in a minute, but Clemson's now down to 25 in the poll. They're barely ranked. Duke is now ahead of them at 21. I'm glad that I picked Clemson to win the ACC because this first week definitely proved me wrong. Good for Clemson. What did you take of the game?
Yeah, Clemson just didn't do anything in the second half. I think I'm going through or like mentally trying to remember, but I think it was after the second half they had missed field goal, fumble, interception the first four drives. The missed field goal was it was inside of 30 yards. They had a fumble inside. I think this it was like the 7 or 8 yard line. They had a fumble. They had another fumble the 25 yard line, and then obviously an interception. So I, this this offense looked putrid yesterday. And give credit to Duke. Duke looked they were there. They were flying around to the ball. The defense looked really good, obviously forcing all of these turnovers. But at the same time, three turnovers in a row, two missed field goals. That is not the Clemson that we've come to learn. That's not the normal Clemson. You got to look back. They got DJU transferred out last year. They thought Cade Klubnik was going to be the guy, and I mean, he really didn't look like he was ready for it at all.
He looked
Um,
like a freshman. He looked
yeah,
like a
no,
freshman starter.
he definitely did. Riley Leonard looked great for Duke, so congrats to them. They were very opportunistic on the turnovers. I think they almost returned one of them for a touchdown.
They did. It was
Just
Clay Cupdick
yeah,
coming back to tackle him.
yeah. So I mean, really, just timely turnovers in the red zone. Like you could have flipped the script in this game, and Clemson could have won 35-7 if they didn't have, two missed field goals, I think four total turnovers at
Hmm.
least. I think they had a muffed kick at one point. No, I think Duke had the muffed kick. I can't remember the
Duke
score
muffed it.
already. Yeah, but still, really bad turnovers. This Clemson team, I think they have an even harder schedule than FSU does. They have to go. I think they go to Notre Dame. I know they play Notre
And
Dame. I
South
don't
Carolina.
go to South Carolina. They're going to play UNC. They have to play Florida State. This is a team that after watching them last night, this could be a 3 to 4 loss team. I'm
Yeah.
absolutely taking Florida State over Clemson. So there's two, and I mean they absolutely could lose to Notre Dame and Sam Hartman. They absolutely could lose to Drake May and UNC. I don't know. This might be the most vulnerable Clemson that we've seen. And I mean the climb back to the top, going from 9 to 25, is going to be near impossible to make the playoff at this point.
And we'll know soon because they play FSU in week 4. They play Florida State at home in Clemson in week 4. So if they can beat FSU, then their season's right back on track. Because I mean, they're playing powerhouses, Charleston Southern and FAU in the meantime. But
Uh,
we'll see if they can right their
I
ship
mean,
on back.
is this it for Clemson? If they
No, it's
don't
one game.
right,
It's one game.
if no, 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 I'm saying if they don't right the ship this year, do you
No,
think?
because they're still going to recruit well. They're still going to recruit well.
I know, but they
They
haven't
might not
been.
just have a down year,
They've
but
been they've been relevant, but when's the last time they made the playoff? It's been what 3 years now.
that's not the normal expectancy of any program besides
Yeah,
Georgia and Alabama.
but when you win two national championships in the span of what 4 years, they won two,
Yeah,
right?
but
Yeah, they
again,
won.
that's not the norm.
It's not the no. But that's the thing is it is the norm for these elite teams. How many times have we seen Georgia in it? Almost every year. How many times have we
Yeah,
seen
the last
Illinois?
4 years,
Almost
but
every year.
not every year since the
I
playoff
know,
was
but now
initiated.
now Clemson has definitely started to do worse than we thought they would.
Yeah,
Obviously, they still have a ton of time. They could win out and still finish fourth.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
nothing
They could.
nothing saying they can't. Just last night, Cade Klubnik looked like a freshman. I wonder if they're regretting the DJU situation because he looked great at Oregon State in their first game. So it's
Hmm.
gonna be interesting. I'm interested to see where Clemson goes from here. Who'd you say they get next week?
Charleston Southern
All right, upset alert
at home.
at home.
One team that was definitely ready for prime time, pun intended, which is Colorado. And I called it. You called TCU not being that great. I called Colorado being ahead of schedule. And it was the game of the week, entertainment wise, for me.
Oh yeah,
I mean, 45-42 over TCU on the road. They traded every single time TCU got close or took the lead. Colorado answered immediately with a drive to tie or take the lead. I mean, only six starters on the TCU team from last year, but Colorado won one game all of last year and ended on a 10-game losing streak. So the fact that Colorado won a game is already impressive. But I mean, Shadur Sanders had 510 yards for four touchdowns. Travis Hunter had 11 catches, 119 yards, an interception, and three tackles on defense. I mean, they looked like advertised, like Coach Deion Sanders was advertising throughout the entire offseason, the entire documentary they did about his move from Jackson State. Colorado's ranked now, but does this change your perception of Colorado for the season?
I don't think it does. I mean, I said at the beginning of the year this was probably what a 4 to 5 win team. They got their one. I said TCU was going to be terrible. I didn't think TCU was going to be good at all. They were going to be the biggest disappointment, and it showed. Chandler
Mm-hmm.
Morris, who was supposed to be the starter last year, ended up being usurped by we know Max Duggan. 24 for 42, 280 yards, two touchdowns, two interceptions, a QBR of just below 60. Imani Bailey, rushing wise, did great. I mean, this was an offensive explosion for sure. TCU's defense, though, absolutely putrid. I mean, like you said, Shadur Sanders, 510 yards, four touchdowns. Travis Hunter was on both sides of the ball. That's insane to me. He is
Mm-hmm.
I guess, the college football
Shohei.
Shohei Ohtani. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Colorado, I'll give it to them. They looked better than I thought. I didn't think they would win this game against TCU. I think that just goes to show how bad TCU is going to be this year. I'm I'm
Yeah.
I want everyone to pump the brakes on this Colorado team. They do not have the top end talent that these other teams have. They are not going to go compete with Texas. They are not going to go compete with Oklahoma. They are going to win 4 to 5 games. They just they got the best possible schedule, I think, for this week one. You're going to get a ranked TCU coming off a national championship visit. Everyone knew TCU was going to be rough this year, but still ranked 17, and you beat them. So now everyone's like, wow, they beat the number 17 team in the country, who obviously did not deserve to be number 17. Congratulations to Dion. They looked really good for what it's worth. I just think people need to pump the brakes on Colorado's going undefeated and winning the conference.
I'm gonna double down on my
Oh
prediction. I
Jesus, I knew it.
I think Colorado. I think they make it to a bowl game. I think they make it to a bowl game. That's what I said before. I said 6 wins. No, I said seven. I said 7-5. I said 7-5. So I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna say 7-5. They did nothing to dissuade me from supporting them.
Why did I say Texas and Oklahoma? I meant like they're in the they're in the
They're in the
Pac-12. Oh
Pac-12.
yeah, they're in the Pac-12.
They're in the Pac-12.
Yeah, they're
The
not going
last
to compete
year.
with Oregon and USC.
There you
That's
go.
yeah. I don't know why I thought they were in the Big 12.
So, speaking of the Big 12, we
Oh,
had an upset.
we're
Oh,
done
go
talking.
ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, looking at their schedule, I mean, like, you've got Nebraska next week. I think that's a toss-up game. Nebraska has been really good 50 years ago. Matt Rule's there now. Can they be good now? I don't know. I'm not huge on Colorado. I think they need to toss up. Colorado State, that's probably a win. I don't know how big the Colorado State rivalry is. I don't know if that's a big game or not, but then the heart of the schedule is Oregon at Oregon, that's a loss. Home against USC, that's a loss. At Arizona State, I think that's a toss up. I
You're
think
gonna be
that's
so wrong.
I
You're
think
gonna
that's
be
I
so
think that's a
wrong.
toss up. Stanford is winnable for sure. Stanford is definitely bad this year. At UCLA, UCLA looked really good this weekend against Coastal Carolina. I think that's a
They were
loss.
down for 3 quarters against Coastal Carolina. It was a one-score game
Oh
against
yeah,
Coastal Carolina.
Coastal's good. Grayson McCall is like a top 10 quarterback in the country.
Oh
Coastal
my
just doesn't get talked
god.
about. Hey man, I'm saying what it is. Oregon State, that's probably a loss. Arizona, Delora's a really good quarterback. That's probably a loss. At Washington State, probably a win, and then at Utah. There's 4 to 5 wins on that schedule.
They're gonna be 3-0 going into the Oregon game, and
And
then
they,
if
they
they win,
very they very well could be. I don't if they
you're
win
just
two
gonna
more
win one game the rest of the season if they're 3-0
they
going into
win
the Oregon game.
I said 4 to 5 wins. If they
So
win two
you
more
think they
games,
win 1 to 2 games? Okay.
I think they are
This is your James Conner
this
college
this is
era.
yeah, and guess what? It's gonna come true. I'm okay. Their guaranteed losses are Oregon, USC. Oh, why did my computer just? I had the schedule pulled up. Hold on.
UCLA, Oregon State, and
UCLA,
Utah.
Oregon State, Utah. Those are 5 guaranteed losses. So that gives them Arizona
Guaranteed.
State, Stanford, and what did I say? Washington State and
Yep.
Arizona. They have to go 2-2 in those games. They're not Alex, this is not a 7-win team. It is a great storyline. It
We
is
we
great.
will see what happens. I think you're gonna be wrong. I
That's
think you're gonna
fine.
be
And if I'm
wrong.
wrong, I'm wrong. But I am not sold on Colorado. They had a great week 1 win against a team that should not have been ranked 17.
Okay.
I'm passionate about this take.
I can tell. In the Big 12, where you thought Colorado was, still,
My bad.
we had the Baylor Bears, of all teams, losing to Texas State at home. The Baylor Bears lost. Hold on, let me get that out there. The Baylor Bears lost in Waco. It's the first Power Five win for Texas State. They won 42-31. They didn't just beat Baylor; they beat them handily by 2 possessions. I just wanted to point that out because Baylor is favored to win their next game against, I believe it's Utah at home,
No,
and Baylor's still
no,
favored to
there
win.
is not a chance they are projected to win against Utah.
I saw the schedule. Baylor's playing somebody non-conference. They're playing Utah.
No
They're
way.
playing Utah, and they're favored. They're at 12 o'clock on ESPN, and
There's
Baylor's
not
still
a
favored to win.
chance.
I saw. At least it was earlier.
I'm going in right now because there's no way. If that is,
Okay,
I'm
now
hammering
Utah's
Utah.
7.5. Utah's
Yeah,
7.5 right now.
I'm hammering -7.5. You cannot lose to Texas State. And do you know who is quarterbacking that team at Texas State?
No,
LSU and Auburn legend T.J. Finley.
I couldn't
That
tell you who that is.
that bum. If he's beating your team, you need to dissolve. You should not be a team anymore. If T.J. Finley is dotting you up for 4 touchdowns, yeah, I am absolutely. That is my lock of the week is Utah -7.5 because if they get
Right.
Cam Rising back, if they're giving up that to T.J. Finley, Cam Rising is throwing for 500 yards on him.
We also had Washington, who I told you Boise State wasn't going to stand a chance to Washington, and they blew out Boise 56-19 in Washington.
It
I
was
mean, Michael
close. It was
Penix,
close the first half.
yeah, Michael Penix threw for 450 and 5 touchdowns. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
they looked really good.
I told you, Ma, don't
I
sleep on Washington.
I know. I thought it'd be a close game. I'll take the L on that one. I said it was going to be close, but Washington looked really fucking good.
We had UNC and South Carolina, what we thought would be the best game of the night outside of
That was
FSU
a
LSU.
snooze fest.
I mean, Desmond Ritter did look good, but man, South Carolina
Desmond
sucks
Ritter.
on offense. No, sorry, not Desmond Ritter. Spencer Rattler. Sorry,
I was like,
Spencer
wait,
Rattler.
what?
I remember the R. Sorry. Spencer Rattler looked good, but man, their O line, they give up
They're
8
bad.
sacks. They give up 8 sacks.
Yeah.
They had negative rushing yards. They have negative rushing yards in the game. So shout out to UNC for handling their. I don't want to say it's not like crosstown. It's like bordering rival.
I mean, it's different states, so
I know that's like bordering, like
yeah.
yeah.
It's like North Dakota State, South Dakota State, big rival.
Yeah.
Is UNC the second best team in the ACC now?
Right now, yes, unless Miami does something different. No, Duke. It's got to be Duke.
You think Duke's better than UNC?
Duke's ranked. UNC's not. Or sorry, Duke's ranked ahead of UNC.
I don't know. I mean,
sorry, UNC is 17. They were 21, which is what Duke is right now.
Yeah, Tim Elko, great coach at Duke. I don't know if they've taken over UNC. That'll be a fun game this year. I'm assuming they play.
I think they do. I think Duke does. Yeah.
Do they play every year? They've got.
Well, before they used to play every team in your division in the ACC, but not anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if they play.
Duke plays UNC at North Carolina, along with at Florida State. So good luck to
Yeah.
Duke to repeating their performances.
So I mean, I still think UNC is probably the second best team. But Duke definitely impressed. But yeah, UNC Drake May, I think they could be a sleeper team.
And we, of course, have Thursday's game, which we mentioned a little bit last episode of UF losing to Utah on Thursday. The SEC had three teams lose out of conference already. Not saying they're huge teams, but the fact that Vanderbilt's undefeated and LSU is not is just comedy to me at this point. Vanderbilt has two wins, LSU has none.
Yeah, the fact that there's four Power Five teams called the Tigers, and that the two undefeated teams are not LSU and Clemson is wild.
Yeah, it's Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn and Mizzou.
Yeah, yeah, Mizzou. I mean, I will shout out, of course, Indiana for putting up a fight against Ohio State. They didn't
Dude,
win,
they looked bad. Ohio State
and
looked terrible.
I told you, it wasn't within 10 because Indiana went down 17 to start the fourth. But Ohio State didn't look good on offense.
They looked
Like
bad.
they looked good
The
on defense, but they
the
just didn't look good
fact
on offense.
the fact that Marvin Harrison had two catches all game is terrible.
6 yards.
McCord looked like a freshman, 239 and an interception. Yeah, they stunk it up. After watching that game, and I know I shouldn't feel more confident watching the first game of the year, but Michigan is. Penn State looked really good too against West Virginia. Drew Aller,
They
great
did.
quarterback.
They
I
did.
think I think Penn State's probably the second best team in the Big Ten now. But Ohio State, that was pitiful. Indiana is not good. Tom Allen will be fired by the end of the year. That is not a good program. You've come out before and people are, oh, they just didn't want to show them anything. What? Ohio State comes out week one and beats teams 56-0 all the time. The fact that they couldn't put Indiana away, that game was until the last, 7 minutes of the fourth quarter, there was hope that, wow, Indiana might come back. And they finally put it away really late. I don't know. It's Ohio State. They'll figure it out, but they definitely look like a
Yeah.
young, inexperienced team.
I mean, yeah, and they have. I think they don't play anybody great
Yeah, they play Youngstown
for.
State this week, so
Yeah, before like they play Penn State. I think that's their first big matchup. But yeah, Ohio State's gonna be fine. Like, if you want to, you can say that. Oh my goodness, like they're not gonna be the best team in the Big Ten, which is fair. Oh, no, no, they play Notre Dame in Notre Dame. That's gonna be a
yeah,
big game, September
yeah,
23rd.
that's gonna be big.
That's huge. If they could beat Notre Dame, I think they're fine. You know, I think they'll be fine.
That's gonna be what week is that? Is that week 4?
Or because they play at Western Kentucky the following week.
That's gonna be a big game because that could also be a title eliminator. Because if Notre Dame loses one game, they're probably out since they don't get to play in a conference championship. And if
Yeah,
Ohio State loses to Notre Dame,
I think if they went out, they would still make the playoff.
oh, if they win out, yeah, but I don't think they're beating Penn State and Michigan. They would have to beat both of them after already
Yeah,
getting a close win against Indiana, and it depends on how the loss to Notre Dame goes. If they lose 45-7, I don't think winning out is going to do anything for them, but
yeah.
we'll see.
We did have, of course, uh, any other games you wanted to talk about from week one? I think that was it for the major ones.
Uh, Michigan looked pretty weak, I'll say. No Jim Harbaugh, no Sharon Moore, offensive coordinator. A little disappointing. Blake Corum didn't go for 100 yards, but J.J. McCarthy is legit.
Hmm.
Michigan, I think, is very solidly the second best team in the country. And then obviously Georgia, 48-7, beat the shit out of UT Martin. Um, Oregon, I guess we could shout out Oregon for throwing 81 up on Portland State.
81. God.
That was a program record. You see, the Duck has to do how many push-ups every touchdown?
Seven
He
for every
Yeah, he ended
touchdown.
up doing like 540
Or
push-ups
something
or
like that,
something.
yeah. Hmm.
So shout out to him. Penn State beating Virginia. Drew Aller looked great. 325 yards, 3 touchdowns. Texas looked pretty mid against Rice, but ended up beating them good. Shout out Virginia. I'll give Virginia a good shout out from everything that happened
On
last year.
defense, yeah.
For them to just be able to take the field this season is a win for Virginia. It's not going to be a good team this year, um, but it was good to see them after everything that happened with the shooting last year with the football team for them to come out and play. Also, the same goes for Mississippi State with the transition from Mike Leach after the unfortunate passing of him last season. It was good to see them come out. Um, but other than that, I think that was pretty much everything notable.
We do have, of course, more action on the way next week. We'll count it down kind of like college game day does. I feel like the sixth best game going to the best game. We start off with a rivalry. Iowa, who was just ranked, and they are number
Oh,
26 in the current AP
they're
poll.
so bad.
I told you Utah State would put up a fight. I mean, how do you
I
pronounce the
know.
former quarterback from Michigan? McNamara?
Cade McNamara.
Yeah, McNamara. He
Yeah,
didn't light it on fire. I'm just saying. He
he
looked like
was
a
not
regular
great.
Iowa quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
they
I
won at 10. They won by 10 against Utah State week one. They go on the road to Des Moines to take on Iowa State and the Cyclones. I'm taking on Iowa State. I don't know about you, but like I think Iowa State's. I don't think Iowa's very good, so
yeah,
I'm taking the Cyclones.
the annual Cy-Hawk Trophy. I am not a believer in Iowa. They have never been good offensively. Their offensive coordinator, the son of the coach, has a clause that he has to score 25 or average 25 points a game to keep his job. I don't know if that's for the OC or for the head coach. I don't know. It's a really weird stipulation, but it's hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take Iowa State. I just don't believe in Iowa's offense. That's gonna be a team that scores 14 to 17 points a game. They put up what 25 against Utah State. Is that what they
24 against Utah
24?
State. 24, yeah.
Yeah, this is not a good team. I think Iowa State's heavily favored too. I think they might be like -7. I'm gonna take Iowa State as my pick for the week. I don't think they're even that good. I just think Iowa might have been a little overrated.
We do have now number 10 Notre Dame, moving up from 13. Notre Dame travels to NC State. NC State, of course, is in the ACC with Notre Dame and all the sports, but in football, Notre Dame's independent. I mean, Brennan Armstrong looked decent. I mean, the quarterback for NC State, he threw for over 200 yards, ran for almost 100 in week one on the road. But I think Notre Dame, I mean, they looked really good their first week. So I'm going to take Notre Dame over NC State. It might be
Yeah,
close, but I'm taking Notre Dame.
yeah, and Sam Hartman's gonna play. You know, he played at Wake Forest, so he's familiar with NC State. He's played them before. Now he gets a lot more talent around him with Estime, their running back, really good. I think this is a Notre Dame dog walk. I think they beat them by 2 to 3 touchdowns. It's -7.5 right now. I don't know if I'm big on Notre Dame. I'm just big on Sam Hartman. I think he's gonna be really good. I think this offense
Hmm.
is gonna be really good. And NC State, I don't think is there yet. Like you said, Brennan Armstrong's good, but I don't think he's better than Sam Hartman. And I just
Yeah.
think Notre Dame has the better weapons. Give me Notre Dame.
We've got one of the only ranked battles. We have another ranked battle, the big one, but the only ranked battle outside of college game day is Ole Miss going to Tulane. It's in New Orleans. It's not in the dome. We've got Ole Miss, who is now 20 in the country, going to Tulane, who stayed at 24. Uh, I think Tulane would be huge for them if they pull this off because having an SEC win against all the other group of five teams that are going to be competing for a bowl game, New Year's Six Bowl, would be crazy down the line. But I think Ole Miss just has too much talent. I think this is Ole Miss's game to lose. I think on defense, they're going to get that extra stop they need. You know, the place is going to be buzzing in Tulane. Like, it's going to be a crazy atmosphere. But I'm going to take Ole Miss in this one.
Yeah, no, I agreed. Jackson Dart, really good quarterback. Quinshawn Judkins, really good running back. I just don't really see a path for Tulane. This is going to be a high scoring game. This will be the most fun game, I think, to watch of the weekend,
Yeah.
other than
Hmm.
probably Texas Alabama. This is going to be a
Hmm.
shootout. It's at what? It's a morning game too, isn't it?
No, I
No,
think it's at 3:30.
it's an afternoon game. Okay, but
Yeah.
still, I'm gonna take Ole Miss. I just think the offense is gonna be insanely good. It's at Tulane, but Ole Miss is already -7.5. The over under 65. So if you like betting overs, this is a fun one to watch. Tulane, I just don't. They don't have the star player that Ole Miss is gonna have. They don't recruit as well, but I still think it's gonna be a good fight. And I think it'll be the second most exciting game of the weekend.
Number 23, Texas A&M is going on the road to South Florida, to Miami Gardens, to take on the Miami Hurricanes. I mean, Bobby Petrino put up 52 points for Texas A&M in his first game as offensive coordinator for the Aggies. It was against New Mexico, but still. Miami's defense did look good in week one, obviously playing Miami of Ohio, who did brag that before the game they were going to be the only Miami standing. which I thought was funny because they got dogged by Miami and Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, Miami's offense is very inconsistent, and Tyler Van Dyke actually filed a trade or a copyright today for Tyler Van Dyne. So I don't know if this is going to happen or not. I know it's like Danny Dimes all over again.
That's rough.
The homer me wants to take Miami, so I'll take them. I'll take Miami to beat Texas A&M. Will it happen? I hope so because I'm picking Miami.
You gonna go to the game?
No, Brenda's in town. I will not be going to the
Uh,
game.
well, I'm going the opposite. Connor Wegman looked good. 236, 5 touchdowns in the first game. Obviously, it was against a nobody, but I'm not big on Miami. They need to put a stadium at on campus because the visuals at the stadium just aren't good. A season opener, their attendance is low. There's just no hype for Hurricane football anymore. It seems. I'm gonna take A&M. They're -4.5. I think they're a lot better than Miami is. Just recruiting wise, I mean the number one class last year. Obviously, a lot of them transferred, but you still have some holdovers from that. I'm gonna take A&M, and I'm gonna take A&M handedly.
All right. We've got another non-conference, of course, matchup this early. We've got Oregon going to Lubbock to take on Texas Tech. The Red Raiders, they suffered an upset week one. They went to Wyoming and lost by two in a another very entertaining game in the week one. Oregon put up 81. That's all you got to know. Oregon put up 81. You said it
Yeah,
against Portland State. I'm taking the Ducks over the Red Raiders. It'll be closer. I think Texas Tech offense will definitely do better than Portland State's did, and hopefully their defense as well. But I'm gonna take Oregon.
yeah, I agree. Oregon's gonna dog walk them. Bo Nix, Auburn legend Bo Nix, who has been in the I don't want to say league, 'cause it's not a league, but been playing college football for what seems like 8 years at this point. Oregon, I think, is probably going to be the second best team in the Pac-12. They are going to be competing till the very end with USC, and I do not think Texas Tech has anything that's going to stop them. Give me Bo Nix and the Quacking Ducks.
And of course, we don't have a headgear to put on, but we
Oh
do
yeah,
have the college
we gotta
game.
start doing that shit.
Game of the week, a college game day will be in Tuscaloosa for Texas traveling to Alabama. Quinn Ewers against the Tide. They both looked really good week one and tune-up games. Kind of definitely both looking ahead to this matchup. It's going to be a high-scoring game, I imagine. You know, it's going to be rocking in Tuscaloosa. Who wins this game and why?
Man, Quinn Ewers and Texas looked pretty beatable against Rice. Obviously, way inferior competition than them. Maybe they weren't showing everything. I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to show everything going into the Alabama game. If this game was at Tech, why do I keep getting? I'm on ESPN. I keep getting ads, and I don't know how to make the sound go off. Stop it! Oh my god, it's so loud. Um, if this game was at Texas like it was last year, I would lean Texas. I don't know. I have questions about Alabama's quarterback with Milrow, but I give me Texas.
Ah, we got him.
The Homer in me can't
Yeah,
pick
the
Alabama
homer in you,
to
the homer in you. Can't do
it
Bama.
can't do it. I think it's gonna be a really good game. It'll be close. I'm not surprised if Alabama wins. I just
Yep.
they're only 7 point favorites, which it's pretty. I guess it's pretty good, but I don't know. The homer in me can't pick Alabama. I have questions about Alabama's offense. Yeah, Jalen Milrow put up 4 or 5 touchdowns or whatever he did this week against the Minnesota State for the deaf and blind. Um, Now he's got to play a real defense. I definitely think it's going to be high scoring. The over under is 54. I think it's going to fly past that. Give me Texas by like 3.
I agree. I mean, I said it before. Texas is going to be my team that makes the
Yeah,
playoffs in the Big
that's
12.
what I picked too. So
Uh,
I guess I can't pick against them.
yeah, I mean, who knows? Say Quinn Ewers gets hurt, and then you have Archie Manning on national TV for Texas. I hope that doesn't happen because I want people to get hurt. But I just like Texas in this game. I mean, their overall schedule is also pretty dang easy. Like they play at home to Wyoming. They play home against Oklahoma. I mean, it's neutral site, but still, they're the home team. They're home against Kansas State. Yeah, they're on the road against TCU, but if Texas wins this game, there's no reason they shouldn't make the playoff. There's no reason.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah. No, if they win this one, they're cakewalking to the very end. I think.
yeah. And I mean, in the second and third quarter, they outscored Rice 3-0. It was just the first and last quarter that they looked a little sloppy.
Hmm.
So I still think Texas wins this game. Like you said, they were probably holding back something from the actual Alabama scout team. But yeah, I'm gonna say Texas. I'm not gonna
I
do
do
hook 'em
a.
horns because I'm not a burnt orange fan. But
I'm
go
still
ahead.
doing horns down, but
Yeah.
I do have a couple of oh watch out games.
Yep. Go for
I
it.
guess that could be a recurring segment here. But Taylor's watch out. Um, these are games I think the favorite team should win, but they could be closer than people
Upset
expect.
alert, pretty much.
Upset
Yeah.
alert, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have four of them. So the first one, I think you know where I'm going with this one. Colorado versus Nebraska.
Yep.
They're only 3-point favorites against Nebraska. This is going to be a close game. We're going to see if Shadur Sanders and primetime Dion can come home to Colorado and handle a. I would say it's still a pretty bad Nebraska team, but I feel like even on paper, we'll see if the hype from Colorado dies down or if they keep it rolling. Oh my God! If they win out, they can make the playoff, can't they? Holy
Yeah.
shit!
Easily.
They absolutely can. Oh man, that's it's scripted. That's one of my first games. I've got App State at UNC. 16
Really.
point, 18 point underdogs, but we've seen it before. App State obviously beating Michigan. They've been a great group of five team for the last 3 or 4 years, and they always seem to pick off one team a year. What was it? A&M a couple of years ago that they picked off. But it always seems like there's one
Hmm.
game every season that they beat a Power Five team or a ranked team. I think it happens. Nah, I don't think it happens this week. But North Carolina I think should be on a little bit of upset watch with App State. Um, the same with SMU and Oklahoma. It seems like SMU always kind of beats someone every year, and Oklahoma I think is a little overrated so far. That's probably like the least of my out of all four. That's like the one I'm least worried about. And
Yeah.
then I think the last one is it's Washington State hosting Wisconsin. We're gonna see what Wisconsin can do. Trendy pick, I guess, to win the Big Ten. Fuck, what are they in the East? Whatever one Michigan's not in. Yeah, I'm really bad with divisions too. Apparently, holy shit. Uh, Trendy pick to win the other division. I don't know how good they are. We're gonna see. I think this is gonna be their first competition going to Wazoo, who's always a sneaky good team out in the Pac-12. So we'll see. I guess it's another one on upset watch. But other than that, I don't think there's gonna be. There might be one or two upsets this week. I guess we'll
Charleston
see.
Southern over Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
No, no. Clemson's gonna dog walk them. Clemson's
Clemson
gonna dog walk them.
absolutely needs to dog walk them. They need to leave,
Yeah.
no questions. This cannot be a close game. You need to beat them by 50.
Yeah. I think that's it for college if you want to hit the pros.
Let's do it.
We, of course, will open up with the first game 2 days from today, 49 hours, give or take. You're, of course, in the Amon-Ra jersey. What do you take of the Lions opening up in Arrowhead? Everyone's really hyped about the Lions. Last year's Hard Knocks team had a very good end of the season. It seems to only got better in the offseason. What do you expect from this game? And who wins with the breaking news that we got that Travis Kelce hyperextended his knee and his status is in question for the game?
I mean, even with that, like, as much as I want to pick Detroit, I'm gonna pick Detroit to
Of
win
course you are.
the game. I'm absolutely taking the Detroit Lions. This one might come back to bite me in the ass, and this is absolutely just based on homerism. Uh,
Yep.
I think the Lions win. Amon Ra is him. Jameer Gibbs, they've already came out and said that they're going to use Jameer Gibbs in ways you would never expect. People are saying he's going to be in the thousands of rushing. He's going to be in, he's going to hit 1,000 rushing yards and be in the high hundreds of receiving yards. He's going to be a more morally acceptable and good person, Alvin Kamara. I think that's what his comp is going to be. The line has shifted. It opened at 6.5 Kansas City, and it's now down to -5. I still think it's a close, high-scoring game, especially if Kelsey doesn't play. Oh man, I don't. This is a toss-up too. Like, I can objectively look at it and say like this
Like
is
all of
gonna
those
be.
Colorado toss-ups.
I can. Taking my fandom away from this game. It's going to be a great game. This is probably one of the best games that could have kicked off the season. You have
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, we know how good they are, the defending champions. And then the up and coming Detroit Lions, who I don't think anyone doesn't. Everyone wants to see the Lions be good, except for like the Bears, Packers, and Vikings. I don't
Yeah.
think there's a single like fan outside of there that's like, I hate the Lions. We want them to lose. Everyone wants to see them succeed. Coming out and beating Patrick Mahomes in Week 1 is signaling that you are here, you are ready to stay, and you are NFC contenders. I'm gonna take them. I have to, especially if Kelsey's not gonna play. I mean, they have Sky Moore and what Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
The offense does not scare me. Chris Jones
It's
maybe
just
sitting
it's
out.
Patrick
It's
Mahomes.
Pat.
That's
I
enough to
know.
scare you.
I
That's
know.
enough to scare you
I
as a
know.
team.
I know. But
Mhm. I
I don't
hope
know.
Detroit wins, but I think Kansas City wins. I would like for Detroit to win, but I think Kansas City wins. I think Detroit's a year away from being a Super Bowl conference contender. I think they can definitely make the playoffs this year. Probably going to be a top 10 French team the entire year, but I think it's also at Kansas City. If this was in Detroit,
Oh
I'd give
yeah.
Detroit a little bit of the
Yeah.
edge. But in Kansas City, hard place to play. Everyone's going to be hyped for the game. I'm going to say Kansas City. I hope Detroit
Yeah.
wins, but I'm going to go with
Yeah.
Kansas City.
My head says Kansas City. My heart says Detroit. I guess my official prediction that's going on
It's
paper.
Detroit.
The
It's
Detroit
Detroit.
Lions will win on Thursday
Yep.
night. I have to
Yep.
do it.
Of
I'm
course.
backing the boys. Got to rep the city. The official prediction
Yep.
is the Detroit Lions
You're
Thursday
trading for
night.
Jameer Gibbs now in fantasy.
I drafted him in my other league just so I had him.
Of course you did. The 1 o'clock slate
Oh
on
yeah, wait, hold
Sunday.
on. Back before
Yeah,
we
go for it.
before we move on. If the Lions beat Kansas City,
Yep.
are they your NFC champion?
No, the
That doesn't
Eagles
change.
exist. I'm sorry. No, it elevates their ceiling, but it doesn't make them replace it. They're not better than the Niners and the Eagles. I'm sorry. They're
Even
not.
if they come out and beat Kansas City by 3 touchdowns, you don't think that they're the number one
It's
contender
one
in the
game.
NFC?
It's one game.
All
No,
right.
it's one game.
Okay.
It's one game. It's one game. Speaking of the NFC actual contenders, it's the San Francisco 49ers going to Pittsburgh to open up the 1 o'clock slate. Arguably one of the better games in the 1 o'clock slot. I'm hoping Kenny Pickett shows some growth. It shows that they have some buzz around. Of course, they have Najee Harris, Pat Firemouth, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson. And for San Francisco, is Brock Purdy healthy? Do they gel on offense like they did after the CMC trade? Uh, can Pittsburgh protect Heinz Field and grab a win here against the Niners?
I don't know. Like you said, it's a pretty bad. Uh, I keep you said one, and I'm like, no, this is at 10 a.m. Forgetting time
So,
differences, but
what Eastern time zones?
yeah, the first slate of games is nothing good other than Bengals Browns. Is probably going to be the most, I guess, interesting game outside of that.
Mhm.
I don't know. The Niners are just so good. They have Debo, they have Brandon Ayuk, they have Run CMC, they have Elijah Mitchell in the backfield. I don't think it matters who's quarterbacking that team. I mean, we saw Brock Purdy take them
Mhm.
to the NFC Championship game last year. So
Yep.
I'm gonna take the Niners. I think Kenny Pickett. I said it last year. I think he's overrated as shit. Uh, Deontay Johnson needs to have a bounce back year this year. He had a lot of, I guess, unfortunate drops and whatever the hell his season was last year. Hopefully he
Yeah.
snaps out of it. They have obviously, oh my god, George Pickens. We'll see if he's able to build up on his rookie year, but I just don't think Pittsburgh's there yet. Give me the Niners, and I don't even think it should really be close. I think this is like
I think
I feel like this
so.
is like a 10 point game.
You got T.J. Watt and Minka Fitzpatrick and Cameron Hayward for the Steelers defense.
I'm not sold on Pittsburgh's offense. I mean, yeah, you have Najee
Mhm.
Harris, but we saw last year Najee basically runs like a 40-year-old man at this point. I just I don't I feel like this is a game for the Niners to come out. People might be writing them off this year, especially with all the talk of the Lions, the Eagles making it. This might be they might come out Kyle Shanahan and just drop the balls on the table and say we're still here. This seems like a 10 point win. Um, I just don't think Pittsburgh's that good.
I still say San Francisco wins, but I think it'll be like I'm gonna say like 28-24, 28-21. I think it'll be around that range.
Yeah, if this was like a primetime game, then maybe it's close because Pittsburgh always plays well primetime. I just first game of the year, you're the first slate of games. I just feel like I feel like 49ers come out and just slap Pittsburgh around for a little bit. They might keep it close, but this is screaming like 10 point win.
You just mentioned probably the best 1 o'clock game on the slate is the Bengals traveling to Cleveland. Joe Burrow is looking, he's going over the injury concerns and prove to his teammate Jamar Chase, yes, he should be playing week one. Can Deshaun Watson go back to his pre-massage therapist suspension level of play? That answer was probably never going to happen. But,
No.
I mean, the Browns are essentially the same team. They lost Kareem Hunt, but they kept pretty much the entire core of the rest of their team together. Bengals are expected to compete for a Super Bowl this season. I expect the game to be a shootout. I think Cleveland wins this game. I think Cleveland wins at home.
Oh.
I think Nick Chubb runs over the entire. It's going to be a shootout. I think this game's going to be like 35-34. It's actually good conditions in Cleveland for once, not freezing cold, not terribly windy. And I think they're just going to air it out. I think Nick Chubb runs well. I think Joe Mixon gets a couple touchdowns. So I'm going to say Cleveland wins this game. Very close, but I think they do.
That's your official prediction as the Cleveland Browns?
I got the
Okay.
Brownies.
That is bold. I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm going to be taking Cincinnati Bengals. -2.5 seems like good value. I'm not betting against Cincinnati's offense. You have probably the best wide receiver trio in the league with Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. You have a top 5 quarterback in Joe Burrow and top 10 running back Joe Mixon. I feel like he's within that 10
Around
to
there, yeah.
that 8 to 12 range. I think you could put him in. And if you look at Cleveland, like they have Amari Cooper, they have Nick Chubb. We don't know what Deshaun Watson's gonna have. And outside of that, I mean, obviously, yeah, Miles Garrett, but
David Njoku, a tight end.
David Njoku, yeah, the easy tight end number 3 this season. I don't know. This also seems like a game that probably shouldn't be as close as the number is indicating. It'll be high scoring, but I just I'm big on Cincinnati this year. I think, and I'm not big on the Browns. I think they'll be fine, but week one against getting the Bengals week one is definitely a tough way to start the season.
Yeah, and divisional game too.
Yeah.
Divisional games are always tough week one. We do have a game I watched wanted to highlight because a lot of changes on both sides. At 1 o'clock, we have the Saints welcoming Derrick Henry, DeAndre Hopkins to the Dome. I've been in the Dome; it's super loud, so you know the fans are gonna be hype. Derek Carr, the 1 week Michael Thomas is healthy this season. Jamal Williams now starting because Alvin Kamara is suspended against a very good, not good tight end secondary. Do you think the Titans have a chance to win this game, or is the environment, the playing on the road, the offense of the Saints too good?
Have the Titans announced a starting quarterback yet? Is it Tannehill?
It's Ryan Tannehill. It's Ryan Tannehill.
Then no, they don't have a chance.
Okay.
If they started, Will Levis or
Malik
Malik
Willis.
Willis, then
Yep.
maybe I give them a chance. But I mean, Ryan Tannehill is probably the worst out of those 3 quarterbacks. The Saints defense, like we know, is legit. They're legit every year. Um, we'll see what Derek Carr can bring with Michael Thomas, with Chris Olave. Jamal Williams, obviously goal line merchant. If they can get it down there, he's an automatic touchdown. This is Saints -3. I feel like it'll be close. The addition of D Hop is good. Obviously, they're gonna have Derrick Henry. I just don't think Ryan Tannehill is the answer anymore. Yeah, I'll take the Saints. It'll probably be pretty low scoring. The over under is 41. I mean, that's if that's a 21-17 game, and that's kind of what it seems like around there for
Yeah.
what it's gonna be.
I think the Titans get the dub here. I think Derrick Henry just runs wild over the Saints D line, and that DeAndre Hopkins does just enough over Marshawn Lattimore. I think the Saints put up points, but I think the Titans control the ball, don't turn over the ball either, which Derek Carson on to do. And I think they snap a win on the road to start out their season. But then again, I'm a lot higher to the Titans than you are, so it makes
Yeah, I
sense.
mean, if they were starting Malik Willis or Will Levis, I think maybe they have a chance just based purely off of passing. I don't think Ryan Tannehill's giving you 300 yards a game.
No, of course not.
I don't think Will Levis and Malik Willis can do that either consistently. But I think if you were to tell me or give me options out of all 3 of those who could do that in a game, I'm taking Ryan
Yeah.
Tannehill last. And to beat the
Yeah.
Saints, you have to be a good offensive team because their defense is a lockdown.
in the 4:30 window, there are no 4:15 or 4 o'clock games, which is great because
Yeah.
it lets all the 1 o'clock games end if we start the next slate.
Are they doing that all season or is that just week one?
I know it's just for week one because the times change for all
Yeah.
the games. Yeah. The first game is the Packers take on the Bears in Chicago, the post
Hell
Aaron
yeah.
Rodgers era. Justin Fields and DJ Moore try to start off with a home win, something they only managed twice last year. I know it's against the division rivals that you have in the NFC North, but who wins this game?
Who cares?
Everyone in football but the Lions.
I Do
And
people
you.
actually give a shit about this game? There's no way.
Yes, fans of the Packers and fans of the Bears, yeah.
Why? This is the third and fourth best teams in the NFC North. I don't give a shit about this game. I mean, I think both teams are going to be bad. I think Chicago is going to be really bad this year. I guess I'll take the Packers, and we'll see what Jordan Love has with Christian Watson. And I still like their rushing attack with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. The Bears, I mean, they have Khalil Herbert, but I'm taking Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon over that. I think Justin Fields is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in league history. Chicago's just not good, man. Like, I'm sorry. This game does not matter to me. The fact that this is the most expensive game to get into with $242 to get in is wild. I am not paying $242 to watch the fucking Chicago Bears versus Green Bay Packers in week 1. That is abysmal. This is going to be like this is terrible. This is one of the worst games. Like I would rather watch Broncos, Raiders, Eagles, Patriots. I'd rather watch the fucking Rams and Seahawks play than this shit.
I put this game for that reaction and because I'm taking Chicago. I think Chicago beats the
I'll
Packers.
take Green Bay as my prediction, but fuck off to both of them. I hope they tie.
That's why I put it on the slate.
Jesus.
Yeah. Next, we have, of course, our hometown Dolphins traveling to LA to rematch over last year. The whole reason this podcast got started when we went to the trip last season. What has to happen differently for the Dolphins to come out victorious? Because Tua wasn't hurt in the game. He didn't get hurt in the game. But the LA had the Dolphins number most of the game. What happens this time?
Say it with me. Get off the field on third down.
Yep, yep.
That is
That
what
is
the
100%
Dolphins
true.
That is what the Dolphins need to fix going into this year. Obviously, I don't have the stats from last year of third down conversions. Actually, can you look that up really quick of what last year's what the Chargers were on third down? Because I feel like they were insane.
We were there. We were complaining the
It
entire
was
game about it.
bad. But I mean, like offensively and defensively, I think the Dolphins are better than the Chargers. I'm taking Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle over Justin Herbert and 80-year-old Keenan Allen and Mike Williams at this point. I think it'll be a fun game. Obviously, you have Joey Bosa on the side of the Chargers. Jalen Ramsey obviously not playing, but with the addition of Bradley Chubb, that's going to be different than last year, right? Yeah, we traded for Bradley Chubb after the Chargers game, didn't we?
I don't know.
I don't
Can't
know.
remember.
We're
But
gonna say for now that they did.
the Chargers had 432 total yards. The Dolphins 219, by the
That's
way,
bad.
which was abysmal. The Chargers went 9 of 18 on third down. They converted every other third down. That's terrible.
That's bad.
The Chargers had the ball for 40 minutes. The Dolphins had it for 20.
Did
So that needs
Tyreek's
to
like
change.
did Tyreek's fumble touchdown count as yards? I
No,
don't know. I didn't think so.
it didn't. No, it didn't. No.
So I mean, I guess that's why there's a big discrepancy because you lose 60 yards of his fumble return touchdown, which still insane to this day that happened. But
Yeah.
they need to get off the field on third down. I'm not huge on this Chargers team this year. I definitely think they're more beatable now than they were last year. Tua shouldn't have an excuse going into week 1. Everyone should be fresh, ready to go. And people forget that was the second game in California in what 8 days because they had played
The Niners.
they played the Niners the week before. So
Yeah.
now you're starting the season out in Cali. You don't have to, back and forth
Travel.
trips. I don't know. Did they end up going back to Miami and then flying back to Cali the week after, or was it 8 straight days in Cali?
I think there were 8 straight days in Cali. I
Yeah.
don't think they came back.
So obviously that's going to take a toll. Having the time flexed, maybe that took something into account. I
I don't
don't
know. Maybe.
know. I think
For
Miami.
both of our sakes, we hope that they do better.
We got to find something to say.
Yeah.
Because it's
Hopefully,
relatively
Tua
more or less
completes.
it's more or
Yeah.
less the same two teams going at it, but I think
Yeah.
Miami learned from the mistakes of last year. Just get off the field on third down.
Tua went 10 of 28 last year.
It was
That has to
bad.
get better. That was his
It
most.
was really
That was
bad.
his least accurate game of the season. So he
Yeah.
does have to play better. I will say. The Sunday night football game is another divisional matchup, the second best one, I'd argue. It's Dallas going on to New York to take on the Giants. The one of two straight primetime games in the Meadowlands. So you can already imagine what the Monday night game is. Is Tony Pollard and Brandon Cooks enough to elevate this team to beat New York on the road? The Giants have not beaten a Dak Prescott led team since he was rookie year when he was drafted in 2015. Can the Giants break that on Sunday?
I think you know where I stand on Dak Prescott and this Dallas team. I think they are also extremely overrated, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I don't think the
So I say,
Giants
what
are
do you
good.
stand on the Giants?
I don't think I'm really high on the Giants either. I mean, they have
Yeah.
Daniel Jones, who's I think him and Dak Prescott, and this might be a hot take. I think they're equal. I feel like you could
Yeah.
throw them on any team, and they're the same person. They're gonna, they're both mid. None of them are better. I mean, Saquon I think is obviously better than Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
The Giants defense, I feel like we're gonna see a little bit of regression this year. They were really good, pretty solid last year. I think Kayvon Thibodeau, I think he's overrated. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry. Um, I'm just not big on Dallas, man. Like Micah Parsons is great. Leighton Vander Esch, I think is good. They have Trayvon Diggs, it's good. I just, I don't. I
So who are you
think
taking in the battle of mid? In the battle of mid, who are you
in the
taking?
battle of mid, I guess I'm taking New York. I'm
Oh,
not,
okay.
I'm
Okay.
not sold on Dallas. I think Dak Prescott is a replaceable quarterback. I think this is, and
You
I've been
called it.
saying
Week 14, Trey Lance.
this is the year that the league finally realizes that Dak Prescott is not good. He's not. I think he throws two picks in this game. Tony Pollard, I think is just he's just Alexander Madison. He did well in a backup role and when he needed to, but can he be the number one running back? We don't know. We've never seen him yet. So just based on that alone, give me the Giants. Week one is always so hard to predict because you don't know what these teams are going to look like at all. So
That's the whole point. That's why we do it.
yeah, so these are just absolute crapshoot picks at this point, just based on what we saw last year and what we see in training camp. But I guess I'm taking Saquon.
You're trying to
I'm trying to
excuse the
judge.
picks that are wrong. Yeah. You're trying to excuse it already. Uh, Arguably the game of the week. I would argue it's the game of the week. No
Oh
offense to Detroit
hell
and
yeah,
Kansas
bro! We're
City.
talking about the Panthers Falcons, baby. Let's go.
No, it's Buffalo going to Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. I think the most excitement is going to be for the Lions Chiefs, but the best on field game will probably be Bills Jets. I mean, for the Jets to have a second, or for New York to have a second straight back to back Monday night like primetime game after the Giants played the night before against Dallas. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers' debut. How did the Jets look? How does Garrett Wilson incorporate? Is Brees Hall healthy? How's Dalvin Cook look? And there's so many questions about the Jets. And for the Buffalo Bills, they got embarrassed at home against Cincinnati in the snow. How pissed off are they? How do they come downstate to travel in the big city lights? Who wins this game?
I gotta say, first of all, we gotta thank the schedule makers. They were cooking in week one with the primetime games, starting the
Yeah,
season off with Detroit, Kansas City, and ending it on Monday night with Bills, Jets. Great, great by the
great
schedule
week one.
makers. Thank you. Even I mean, Cowboys Giants isn't great, but like it's a divisional game, rivalries. They were cooking this game.
Exactly. Hmm.
Um, I'm gonna take the Buffalo Bills. It's week one with Aaron Rodgers learning the new offense. We're gonna see Dalvin Cook and Brees Hall. I don't know. It seems like it's gonna be a 50-50 split. If Brees Hall is Brees Hall ready to go this week,
He's practicing and expected to play.
so you'll probably see a 50-50 with Dalvin Cook and Brees Hall. We'll see how that works out. Obviously, Garrett Wilson's gonna be elite. I don't know if week one is the time they upset the Bills. They get them at home, which I guess is good.
Hmm.
Josh Allen. Obviously, we've seen some discourse with the Bills in the offseason with Stephon Diggs comments. Them getting rid of Devin Singletary. They now have James Cook in the backfield. I mean, they added Dalton Kincaid, who I think is going to solve some issues, not all their issues, obviously. But I'm not betting against Josh Allen in Week One. I mean, uh, I'm not big on Aaron Rodgers anymore either. I think he Hall of Fame quarterback, obviously. I don't think he's going to gracefully age like Brady did. We kind of saw a little bit of dip in performance in the last couple of years. Now you throw him into a brand new offense that he's not familiar with. Obviously, bringing some guys like Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb will help. I just don't think the talent's there yet. I just think Buffalo defensively is going to be better than the Jets are too.
I would love for the Jets to win, and I'm going to pick New York to win because I think they're wearing their all black uniforms too for this
Oh yeah,
matchup.
that's what makes the decision right there is the jerseys.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, mainly because I think the overall hype and excitement for this team compared to what's been like the last 7 years, ever since Mark Sanchez was essentially quarterback, is going to be an all-time high. I think Rodgers is really going to try and show out and like prove to people that think he's washed, you and I included, that he's better than that and still at his high form. Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson are going to really try and show out that the rookie years weren't just rookie flukes. They continue to be discussed as one of the best players in the leagues. And I don't know. I don't see Buffalo. I think Buffalo's going to be very good. I think they're going to win the division still. But I think to start off the season, they're still going to have some rust for some reason. And I don't think. I also saw a stat to where most quarterbacks who don't play a game in the preseason, they were 3-9 last year. Like quarterbacks who didn't play at all. Josh Allen didn't play at all in the preseason. Aaron Rodgers didn't play at all in the preseason. So something's got to give here.
yeah,
I'm going
tie.
to take
They're
the
gonna tie.
Jets. Right? Could you imagine? I would actually be so happy. I'd be so happy if they
That'd
tied.
be really good.
But I'm going to take the Jets just at home. I think they do just enough. There's some key play that either Quinn Williams makes or Rodgers makes late, and they win. Because we know Buffalo can't hold a lead even with 13 seconds left or 11 seconds left. So I think
Yeah,
the Jets take it.
I looked at when this game was, and I'm now changing my pick. I completely forgot this game was on 9/11. The Jets are not losing on 9/11. I'm taking the Jets.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just purely storyline play. The Jets don't lose on 9/11. I'm taking the Jets.
That's why you picked the Giants too, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's the day
Oh,
before.
yeah. There you go. Day before 9/11.
Yeah, right. But we are very excited for week 1 of football.
So
We'll give,
happy.
of course, the roundup. We'll see how our fantasy teams do. We are not playing each other this week. We end the season against each other instead.
And we're gonna
We'll see what happens week 1.
we're gonna see how good these predictions are. We're gonna go through them week by week for college and football and update them weekly.
Yep,
We'll
I got them saved.
probably try and give 6 or 7 picks a week just to see how well we do. I guess betting wise and ball knowledge wise. So
Yeah.
should we? You want to make a little friendly wager? Best
Oh
best
God.
record at the end of the season for both college and NFL.
Oh man, we got to make sure we keep track of this. Easy, easy. Yeah. Loser has to buy the winner jersey of their choice.
Okay,
But it
that
can't be
works.
like, a $300
Yeah,
authentic
yeah, no.
Hall of
You're
Fame.
getting
It has to be like the standard jersey.
yeah, you're getting the $100 Fanatics branded Tyreek Hill jersey.
Yeah, I already have Tyreek Hill. He's on my back.
All
No,
right,
I know this is not jersey.
getting the Fanatics branded Chad
No,
Henne
it's
jersey.
jersey of their choice. Their choice. So if you win, I buy you the jersey you want. And if I
Okay,
win, you buy me the jersey I want. So we can do
okay,
that.
that's fair.
We can do that.
So are we doing college and NFL combined record?
Sure, we can do that. Yeah, we can do
Okay,
that.
yeah, just all right. We're gonna have to keep
I'm gonna
track of
suck
this.
because I don't do well in college. We didn't
We're
do it
gonna
last week either. We didn't do the predictions last week.
we're
We
both
just
one
did
and
like,
I mean we're technically both 1-0. We both said that Florida State was gonna win the game, so but
yeah,
we can officially start it this week since it's the first week of the NFL. You're just
there we go.
gonna have to keep track of that one.
I will. I moved it to the bottom, so I have it. We do have other sports, believe it or not, outside of football that are wrapping up, and that's the MLB playoff picture. I mean, there's mainly 2 races to talk about here, so let's just go right into it. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. The AL West, Seattle again was on a huge winning streak, close to taking the top. Seattle has now taken the #1 spot. I did predict Seattle would win the division, and they are currently playing Houston and are tied with the Houston Astros. Texas is a game back. The Rangers have fallen off, and you said this
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
They lost 8 straight 2 weeks ago. They're still in this hunt. They lost to Houston last night. They play them for 2 more. I mean, Houston also just got swept by the Yankees. So, I mean, right now neither team wants it, but Seattle's just keeping ahead slightly. Who do you think ends the AL West? I think you called Houston would win it, but
I think I said
after
Texas.
watching it now, you
All I
said
said
Texas.
it was either Texas. I said that Seattle wasn't gonna make the playoffs, so they've proved me completely wrong. I didn't see that one coming at all. I thought on
Yeah,
paper Texas and Houston should definitely be better than Seattle is. Um, I'm still not taking Seattle to win the division. I'll take Houston now.
Okay.
Aroldis Chapman has been probably one of the worst trade deadline acquisitions of the year. He's already blown like what
David Robertson would like a
David
word from the
Robertson's, yeah, he's
Marlins.
been pretty bad too. But
Yeah.
Chapman's blown like what 3 or 4 saves. He might even be at more than that with Texas already. He has
I
been
don't remember.
he's been bad. So
Yeah.
we'll see if Texas can shake their woes. I don't know what the schedule for all three of them are. All I know is that Houston ends the season with three at the Diamondbacks, and that could actually be a really important series for both
Yeah.
of those teams. Now that I'm
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
of it, because that could be wild card or that could be AL
The
West
division.
lead. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that might be a fun series. Um, I don't know. I'll take Houston. I think Seattle probably they're a wild card team. I don't believe in Texas anymore. They were my pick to win the division at the beginning of the year. I picked them
Hmm.
to win the division 3 weeks ago when we talked about this, and they've just shit the bed completely.
Falling flat. I
Yeah,
picked them to win the AL in the All Star break. I mean, they've really
yeah,
not performed as well. Their
they're
offense has
bad.
gotten stale. And Julio Rodriguez is like carrying Seattle. I mean, he became the first player ever to do 25 home runs and stolen bases for the first two seasons of any baseball player's career. So he's hitting 278 now. He's hitting 240 most of the season.
Yeah, he's
Um,
going crazy.
yeah, but I like Seattle. I think all three make it to the playoffs, but I like Seattle.
So idea for next season is that we predict baseball games every week, and
That would need its own podcast.
yeah,
That would need its own podcast.
we have to guess 162 games and see what our record is.
No. 162 times 32 teams. We have to predict
Yeah,
every
we have to
single
predict
game.
every single game. Yeah. There you go. We'll have a podcast every day.
God. We have, of course, the main matchup everyone is watching in the main race, and that's the National League wild card. The D-backs and Reds, your D-backs. No team wants to win this wild card spot.
Nobody wants to
Let's
go
just go
there.
into that. D-backs and Reds currently tied for the last wild card spot. The Marlins are a half a game back. The Giants are collapsing. The Giants were leading the wild card 3 weeks ago. They were second by 4 games 2 weeks ago, and now they're a game back. Um, the Cubs are 3 games ahead of the last spot. But the D-backs play 7 against Chicago in the next 2 weeks. That's going to be huge implications. The Reds don't play anyone left in the wild card picture, so they're just solely banking on winning their games and everyone else losing. The Marlins play Philly for 3. The Giants are currently playing Chicago. They lost already game 1, but they played the D-backs twice and the Dodgers 7 times. The Giants do to end the season. It's so hard to predict. It's such a bloodbath. Any
Yeah,
indication that
it's.
one team is doing better than the others?
I
Do
don't know.
you think?
I already said the Diamondbacks were gonna make it. I think my final pick was like Philly, the Cubs, and the Giants. That's what I'm gonna
Yeah.
stick with. I think Philly's locked into that first wild card. The Cubs, I guess their 7 games against the Diamondbacks could be important, but I mean, if they go 3-4, there's really no ground lost.
Yeah.
Um, it becomes troubling if they win one of those 7 games, but if they go 3-4, there's really no cause for concern. That last wild card spot is the best spot to be in too. I would absolutely much rather play the Brewers or possibly the Cubs if the Cubs can catch the Brewers than
Yeah.
playing Philly. I do not want to play
Hmm.
because it's a 3 game series. I do not want to go up against Nola and Zach Wheeler. I would absolutely rather go against. I mean, I guess what they've got Justin Steele and I don't know who else the Cubs are throwing out there, and then you got Corbin Burns. But
Yeah.
offensively, Milwaukee's probably one of the worst that's going to make the playoffs. The Cubs have gone on an absolute tear. Did they get hot too quick? Maybe. I would absolutely rather play them. I don't know. These teams just don't give a shit anymore about making the wild
None of them
card.
want to win. None of them
None
want
of
to win.
them want to win it. So I don't even know who's going to win. It's going to be like who cares a little bit more than the other, and not
Yeah.
even in like a good way. It's like wow, we are doing the bare minimum. I guess I'll stay and just keep saying the Giants, but the fact that they have lost this much ground and still have 7 against the Dodgers is worrying. So I I don't know. I genuinely don't know who's. I can't even guess who's gonna win this because they're all
Yeah.
so close and they all look so bad.
I can't even, like you said, I can't predict who's going to win. I just know it's going to be down to the last weekend. It's going to be down to those last 4 games. There's going to be, I think one of these teams is going to tail off. It's probably going to be Miami with their toughest strength of schedule the rest of the way. It could be the Giants. If the Giants lose to the Cubs now and then they drop 4 or 5 to the Dodgers, it could be the Giants next.
Yeah,
But
and they still have I think 3 against Arizona too. so they definitely could win
Two.
out.
They got two against Arizona.
The
It's like a
two,
two. It's a weird 2 game set. Yeah.
yeah,
But I think one of these teams is going to tail off. But I think four of them, if not five, are going to be in contention last weekend. God knows who's going to win. It's going to
uh,
take.
yeah.
It's going to be so tough. I
Like if
wish.
I,
I wish they played each other more. Like the fact that the D-backs and Cubs play each other a lot is great because they can personally decide it. But I wish none of these teams play each other the last series.
yeah,
If that makes sense.
yeah, I guess if I had to power rank the three teams left that I think could make, I think Miami's out. I'm sorry, I don't think they're
I
making
just said
it.
they were.
Yeah, but if I had to power rank the Giants, D-backs, and Cincinnati for that last spot, I'm probably putting Arizona at one. I guess just based on the fact that they get 7 against the Cubs. I'm
Yeah.
putting the Giants 2, Cincinnati 3. I feel like you could put them in any order, and it just genuinely doesn't matter. I
Yeah.
just I don't know. I any one of those three teams could make it, and I'm not surprised. I guess.
We also, I mean, you mentioned it in a second ago. The Cubs are also only 2.5 games of the Brewers. Like the Brewers and Cubs are also like with the Chicago's recent good play, they're not that far from divisional title as well. So it could be even playing in Wrigley instead of in Miller Park. Well, whatever it was. It's now not called Miller Park,
It's
whatever it was.
Great American Family Park or whatever,
Whatever
something like
terrible
that.
name they gave it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awful.
I mean, the Rays still trail Baltimore by 3.5. Do you think the Rays can come back, or like Wander
Baltimore's
Franco is their season done?
Baltimore's cooking right now.
Yeah. I don't see the Rays lose. I think the Rays are going to win a playoff series, but I don't think they're going to catch Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore's probably the second or third best team in the league right now. I don't think Tampa's catching them.
And the Guardians, after claiming all three players from the Angels, Lucas Giolito had a terrible first game. They lost, I think, 20-9 or
Yeah,
something like that.
it was
20.
they had a position pitcher pitch 4 innings for him the other night last night.
They've they
Bad.
started off. They're 6 games back now of the Twins. Is that who's in
Yeah,
first? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, the
I
Twins.
mean, I
Uh,
don't want to. Go ahead, finish. I'll do
it's
mine.
okay. The Tigers are not going to make the playoffs. The Tigers have been they have been
I
playing
was,
better. I will
yeah.
say. I did see the record. They have been playing better, but they're not going to make the playoffs.
Spencer
I'm
Torkelson's
sorry.
hit 25 home runs this year. Kerry Carpenter's looked good. Riley Green with an insane catch in the outfield. I don't know if you saw that one. That was crazy. He's on the IL now though. But
This is my reaction to the
I'm just
Tigers
saying.
news.
I'm just saying. They're only what 8 games out. They're not.
Oh, the wild card.
No, of the division.
They're
Oh, the wild
they're
card
13.
of the
The
division.
Tigers are 8.5 back. They have a
Yeah.
0.3% chance for the playoffs. 0.3.
So you're saying there's a chance.
They had the same chance as the Mets. It's the same percentage as the Mets.
That's fair. Okay.
that gives you some perspective.
I haven't even been watching Tigers because I know they're not going to do anything. But the fact that they've had such a shit year and they're still only 8 games out of the division is wild. The
Yeah, I
AL
mean, because
Central needs to blow up.
they lost 5 in a row to the Astros and Yankees, and they just
Yep.
won 4 in a row against the Yankees and White Sox. And then they play the Yankees again in New York now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, bud. I don't think it's going to happen
It's
for
not
you.
happening.
No. I mean, to be fair, they play the White Sox again. Dude, they played 10 in a row on the road to nearly close
That
the season.
sucks.
They played the Angels for 3, the Dodgers for 3, and the A's for 4, which it's the A's, but still.
I mean, that's not bad. That's like I count 7 wins there.
And then they play Kansas City at home and then Cleveland at home to end the year.
I, I'm not. That's got to be one of the easiest schedules to end the year. Other than the
But they
Dodgers
don't play
games,
Minnesota a game though.
that's fine, dude. If you can win 12 of those games,
There's only 25 left. There's only 25 games left for most teams.
they have a chance. You're making me believe now. After looking at that end of the year schedule, they could win every game except the Dodgers series.
Oh my God. Okay. Whatever you say, man.
Going undefeated. They're winning the World Series.
Do you have any other news, highlights, things? I have some questions of the day, but
I haven't had a
do you have
question of the
anything
day
else you want to
in
offer?
3 weeks. I think I'm out of questions, to be honest. I've thought of everything I
Yeah.
can. No, I'm just excited for football. This is gonna be a big weekend. You've got college football, obviously, all day Saturday. Games start on. We have football. Okay, here's the schedule for the weekend: is college football, or NFL on Thursday,
Yes,
college
and
football
college.
on and college football on Friday. Granted, it's not big games. It's like Illinois versus Minnesota or something, but it's
Yeah.
football, and we'll watch it. Saturday, you've got football all day. UFC
Yep.
293 is on, which I know we're not a UFC podcast, but that's still watchable. Sunday, you've got football all day.
Yeah.
Monday you've got football. This is great. I'm happy that the sport is back. Hockey and basketball start soon. The Mecca is here. We're out of the dog days of summer. Salvation
Yep.
is within our grasp.
Yeah. All girlfriends punch in the air for trying to go
Oh, dude,
pumpkin
Grace is
picking.
Grace is pissed. I was
Yeah.
like,
Pumpkin patches.
I was sarcastically like, oh, aren't you so happy football's on? She's like, I'm already tired of football being on the TV. I was like, it's
It
been
hasn't
3 days.
even been the Lions haven't even
No, we haven't
graced the
even
TV
played.
yet.
She's like, I'm tired of football being on TV. I was like, why? She's like, the only thing that's been on TV for the last 3 days has been football games, and I don't even know half the teams that you're watching.
You're like, I don't know either.
I don't know either, but it's football.
What's Youngstown State? Where do they play? I don't
Youngstown
know.
State.
Yeah. I have a question. You already answered part of it, believe it or not. And it's what is the most expensive ticket this week in the NFL, and what's the get-in price?
Oh, the was it the Bears? It was the Bears,
It's
wasn't
the
it?
Bears and Packers. What's the get-in price? Do you remember?
It was like 200 and something bucks.
It's 239. What's
Yeah.
the second most expensive game?
In the
We didn't
NFL?
talk about it. We didn't cover it.
Oh shit. It's gonna be like a garbage matchup, isn't it?
What matchup do you think is
Uh,
it?
Patriots Eagles.
That is correct.
Damn.
$210
That's
to get
ridiculous.
in. To get in. It's in New England. But yeah.
I'm gonna
Now, what do you
guess.
think it is?
I was gonna say I'm gonna guess the third one. I'm gonna
Yep.
say the
I
third
don't
one's
have it,
probably
but
it's probably got to be either Lions, Chiefs, or Bills, Jets.
I think it's Bills Jets. I think Bills
Yeah,
Jets is just over it, I think.
yeah.
But what about for college football? What matchup is the most expensive ticket to get into?
Oh, dude, there's so many games. Like, is it a
I
top
know, I know.
25 team playing?
Yes, it is. It is. It's a
Oh,
big matchup.
oh, never mind. It's easy. It's got to be
Yeah.
Colorado.
That is correct. It is
It's got to be
Nebraska,
Colorado.
Colorado. It's $369 to get into the Nebraska
What?
Colorado game. It's Coach Sanders' first home game. It's
Yeah.
$370.
No, it makes sense that that's the most like. How much is the Bama Texas game has to be too then?
Yeah, it's 171. It's half. It's less than
300.
half.
That's
You
insane.
could you could get two tickets to watch Texas Bama for less than watching Nebraska play Colorado. I didn't know if you'd get it or not. I thought you'd go Texas Bama and I'd go wrong.
No, it definitely makes sense that it's Colorado with all the hype they've been getting, and it's Dion's first home game. That was pretty easy of an answer, but the fact that it's that much is insane.
$369. And you know they're gonna sell out because it's
Oh,
Colorado, you
oh,
know? It's
absolutely.
a
And
college game. College so
Nebraska has fans all across the country too. So
yeah.
yeah, that's insane.
And
But
Nebraska,
that's
it's not a far travel either from Nebraska to Colorado.
the
It's like
the
5 hours, six
the
hours.
fact I was looking at tickets for the Iron Bowl and the Michigan OSU game this year.
Yeah.
That ticket is more expensive than an Iron Bowl ticket by over
Yeah.
$120. And the
I'm
Michigan
not
Ohio State
surprised.
game is 500. So it's only
Jesus.
$140 cheaper than that game. And that's the biggest college football game of the year.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
That's crazy. That's so insane. But I think that's it for this week, unless there's anything else you want to offer.
No, man, I'll be happy next week when I come back and the Lions are 1-0.
We'll see. When Colorado loses to Nebraska in your eyes,
Oh, dude, if Colorado loses, that's a morning game. I'm gonna be
it's at
blowing.
12. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm blowing your phone up once they lose.
Yep. We'll of course let you know what happens when it happens next week. We'll get to you for week 1 reactions or week 2 for college and any updates in the baseball picture. Until next time, I am Alex.
I'm Taylor.
We'll see you then.